Pokemon is releasing a set for the TCG called Pokemon 151, which is going to pay homage to the original 151 Pokemon released in red, blue, and yellow, with a Kadabra card being printed after so long because of some things with Yuri Geller going on. But this is going to be an homage set, something like our Celebration, something that's a mini set. Maybe it has impactful cards, maybe it doesn't. You can see some retro artworks, some call links back to the old school cards. Nostalgia for all of those who started, just like me, with base set, buying some cards at the local grocery store, or picking up a theme deck that hopefully we kept in good condition. I did not. Mine went through the wash. But hey guys, my name is Reddy, and today we're going to be looking at some of the cards revealed in Pokemon Set 151, what the set is, and how you can obtain it. I'll be looking at the competitive aspect of these cards and also looking at some of the arts, but this is a primarily competitive YouTube channel, so we're going to be looking at competitive cards here. The Pokemon 151 set will be coming on June 16th in Japan, but it will be coming at some point to us. I have no clue when. At some point it will. But the cool thing about this is 21 years later, we will have our first Kadabra card because Yuri Geller sued Pokemon over Kadabra's likeness and won. In 2020, Yuri Geller decided, hey, my bad, guys. And we now have access to using these cards again. By the way, if you guys enjoy this kind of content, please like and subscribe before I jump right into it. It would help out the channel a ton. You don't have to, it would just help me out a ton. So we're going to look at some of these new cards. We see a really cute looking Bulbasaur with Leech Seed, a really cute looking Ivysaur also with Leech Seed. Both these attacks are pretty bad. And we have our first EX Pokemon with 340 HP Venusaur EX. With the ability Soothing Bloom. Once during your turn, this Pokemon is active, you may heal 60 from one of your Pokemon. It does have a 4 retreat cost, so it is very, very difficult to move out of your active, I will say that. And Potent Whip for Grass, Colorless, 150 and they're poisoned and confused. This is a very difficult ability to use effectively, especially on a Stage 2 Pokemon, and Potent Whip is also very, very expensive of an attack, I would say. Fire type weakness is not relevant, but I don't think this card will see any play. We have a very cute Charmander exploring the lands and burning down the plains as he's going, with the attack Burn Down with steady fire breathing as well. Then we have a Charmeleon. He got bigger and burned down more things, it looks like, with Combustion and Fire Blast. And then we have our second installment in the EX series here, Charizard EX, 330 HP, a Water-type weak Pokemon with 2 retreat cost, Resolute Wings, 60 plus 100 if this Pokemon has any damage counters on it. Very easy to proc that with Magma Basin as the stadium, so 160 for 1 energy, very, very good damage numbers, but obviously it's a Stage 2, so it does take time to set up. And then for 4 Fire, you do 330 and discard 3 from this Pokemon. We don't have any Fire Acceleration besides Magma Basin, I guess, right now. But this card could be really good because 330 one-shots effectively everything in the format right now, which is really crazy. So, could be playable. We have this very cute little squirt guy jumping into the water with Withdraw and Skull Bash. Wartortle also riding the beach. I like how they're keeping the theme through the decades. Free dive, put 3 water energies when you discard pile to your hand. And then we have our Blastoise EX coming in next. Stage 2, 3 retreat. Lightning Weak. Solid Shell takes 30 less from attacks. That's actually pretty good. And then Twin Cannons, 140. Discard up to 2 basic water from your hand. This has 140 for each card. Discard it this way. So you can set up a Qianpao Baxcalibur engine or just Qianpao engine with this to set it up. Get your Twin Cannons going. Discard your energies from your hand. Heal up with cards that are healing reliant. 140 for each is a lot of damage. That's 280. That's a lot of damage for 2 basic waters. This card's probably actually really, really good. But Qianpao Baxcalibur plus this is a lot of Stage 2s in one deck and a lot of setup, so maybe it doesn't work, but I think a thin Blastoise EX line could be the late game you need to clean up a game. We see Snatch Arm, which is look at your opponent's hand, choose a Pokemon you find there, put it at the bottom of your opponent's deck. This is an homage to the Team Rocket Snatch Arm that they used to steal Pikachu over and over again. This is actually pretty good. Actually, it's okay. Bottom of your deck, nothing crazy, actually. But leftovers, if this Pokemon is attached to it at the end of your turn, heal 20 damage as a tool. This card is really, really good for decks like Goodra, for decks like Arceus, stuff that does not get one-shot easily. And if you can make that one-shot into a 3-shot using the power of leftovers, Crystal Cave, other healing cards, this could be very, very powerful. So I think there's a lot of potential for this card. Goodra, Crystal Cave, with like Rolling Iron is the first thing that comes to my mind. So I think Goodra gets a huge buff in this card, rather than being an offensive threat, being a defensive threat. Erica's Invitation, a new supporter, will say your opponent reveals their hand, choose a basic Pokemon you find there and put it on their bench, then switch it into the active spot. So it's a free gust if you find a Pokemon in your opponent's hand. So now Pokemon aren't safe in the hand, aren't safe in the discard with Echoing Horn. That's scary. There's no items, thankfully, right now that shuffle your opponent's hand in and make them draw a new set, so you can't really judge them and play an Erica's. So if decks are willing to play around Erica's Invitation, if this card becomes very popular, it will lose a lot of effect. But we don't have anything that forces that effect right now, like a shuffle draw, like reset stamp or something. So a very cool card. I think Erica's Invitation is very powerful, and I do think that Blastoise EX is probably one of the better cards we've seen in this set. Next up, we see the Onix and the Raichu coming in. Raichu says, grounding. When one of your Pokemon's knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, you move one basic lightning from that Pokemon to this Pokemon. So you can basically use Raichu as a cleanup attacker, has a stage 1 120, 180 damage and 50 back to itself. So some form of like one prize attacker in like a Flaffy box deck, maybe in some sort of lightning box deck that uses electric generator early on to power up your board, and then you can go into this Raichu to clean up. I don't think it will actually see any play because I think there's just better cards, but for the time being, it's a cute idea. Then we have Onix with a Thumping Avalanche, 8 for double colors, 80 times discard the top 5, 80 for each retreat cost of exactly 4 off the top of your deck. So Onix can clean up a game with the double turbo if you can like put 5 Pokemon back into the top of your deck with Super Rod or something at the end of the game, and then Thumping Avalanche, discard 5, clean up a game. Not good at all in the early game. Don't know what. I guess there won't be a Steelix in this set because it's 151, not Gen 2. I'm smart, but this is very cool. I like this card. It's very funny. And then we have Kabutops, Omastar, and Old Dome Fossil. I like this art quite a bit. Omastar has Tentacle Rush, return 50, put energy from your opponents into their hand. Then we have Omastar, Primal Tentacle. As long as the active your opponent can't retreat, the damage is 90, 30, 30. So it doesn't actually make anything of a retreat situation, but it is a hit and runner if you want to hit and run into this guy. Doesn't do anything by being in the active. It just traps something, I guess. Nothing like Wobbuffet or other hit and runners that just had like no abilities. This is a little bit of a different style of hit and run, and it's also a very heavy commitment because it's Fossil into Omanite into Omastar. So it's a very, very heavy commitment. Then we have Kabuto, which has double scratch, 70 times 2 for each heads. That's actually a lot of damage for fighting colorless, but it is on a coin toss from a Fossil. And then Ancient Logic, apply weakness for your opponent's active Pokemon as 4x instead. I don't think there's a world where we needed this. Like, I do not think we need weakness to be 4x. Like, what? That's crazy. I don't think this card is good. This is so win more. Like, the 2x is already such a big deterrent for so many things that, like, we don't need to sit here and say, like, oh man, 4x would be so much nicer. That's crazy. And then these are just the fossils that come into play. With Dome Armor, that's 30 less damage from attacks. That's pretty funny on a fossil. That's a pretty funny gimmick. So that's all we know about the 151 set so far. We know about the Alakazam and the Mew and all these cards from earlier. But I hope you guys are ready for the 151 set. I'm actually pretty excited to open some of these just for nostalgia's sake. I would like to, like, the energy I think got leaked somewhere as well, like one of the energy cards, and it looked really, really cool. I'll try to find it for you guys at some point. If I find it, I'll post it on my Discord link in the description. Also, other channels, whatever. But thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.